Right, I think we'll make a start. I think most people are with us now, and a few will join us later, I'm sure. Welcome, everybody. Yes, to our security, cyber, and physical webinar. Do you want to, rest of you, can you turn your cameras back on, do you think? So people can see you. That's great.
Reveal yourselves.
Absolutely. As I say, lovely to see everybody. Right, here we go. Nearly a quarter of SMEs could not survive a cyber attack. New research from Vodafone shows that nearly a quarter of SMEs said they would likely go bust if they were forced to deal with the average cost of a cyber attack. 16% of businesses said they would need to lay off staff to cover costs of a cyber attack. So basically, you are a target to hackers. Don't ever say it won't happen to me. We're all at risk and the stakes are high, both for you, your business, and for your personal and financial well-being. I know this from personal experience. I'll come on to that later. The IT department is no longer available as we're most of us working from home. So we need to be aware and alert. Hackers are constantly improving their craft, which means information security must evolve to keep up. IT professionals run tests, conduct risk assessments, reread the disaster recovery plan, check the business continuity plan in case of attack, and then do it all over again. The biggest challenge in IT security is finding a balance between resource availability and the confidentiality and integrity of the resources. Rather than trying to protect against all kinds of threats, most IT departments focus on insulating the most vital systems first, and then finding acceptable ways to protect the rest without making them useless. So without further ado, I will introduce you first up to Craig Dade of Timeless, who Timeless are one of our patrons. So Craig, over to you.
Morning, thank you, Sally. I'm just going to share my screen now. You'll all be able to see my screen now, hopefully.
Yeah, that's good.
Brilliant, thanks, Sally. So yeah, Craig Dade from Timeless IMS. So just going to give you a brief overview of Timeless and cybersecurity issues. So Timeless are based in Ashford. We're managed solution providers, technology experts, and we provide technology and everything that goes around that for our clients from small businesses to individual businesses. The business is owned by Michael Ramlakan, and he's very proud of the fact that he owns Timeless. Also very proud of the fact that he was born on the day of the lunar landings, and he is named after one of the astronauts on that voyage. So that's something that he's really proud of. And as I said, the ethos around Timeless, it's about creating a 360-degree view of when we help our clients with technology. So we start with the cloud. We start by getting your connectivity right, which is the most important thing. As we know now, we're all remote working. Your home internet, your home broadband needs to be correct. We then look at security. So what security applications do you have on your systems, especially when you're home working? Because when we were all in the office, we were all secured by the office firewall. Is that firewall still now in place? Now you're working from home. So it's looking at those issues. The people side of the business is our tech support. So where we physically have engineers still going on site in a COVID secure way, and we can help so many more people remotely now. So that's another piece of the business. And then the intelligence brings it all together. So why is cybersecurity important now? It's always been important. It's always been there. But now, as we are all remote working, as I say, it just has heightened the issue. Cyber criminals have taken this opportunity to do more attacks, not only on bigger corporations. You know, we hear of Microsoft being hacked, BA, but they're also targeting smaller firms now who do not have the infrastructure in place to protect them. So it might only be a smaller attack, but if your system stops working, you can no longer work, because so much of our business is done online via PCs, laptops, tablets, phones. We're so reliant on this technology. So if you get a warning coming up saying you cannot use your computer, please pay me a Bitcoin, you're really in trouble. And then you Google how much a Bitcoin is now worth, and you go, oh my gosh, how am I going to deal with this? So it's about taking some preventative steps so you don't get to that stage. First thing that I always mention, and is always key, passwords. Look at your passwords. Please try and make sure they are as secure as possible. Don't use repeat passwords for various applications. Use 3 random words, for instance. That would be a good starter. Still, the most popular password in use today is 123456, followed by password. So please don't fall into that trap. Encourage all of your users to use a secure password storage vault. Lots of applications have them built in. So Microsoft have them, Apple have them. So you can store individual passwords to individual accounts. And that way you can set up random passwords, as I say, 3 random words, as opposed to stuff that you need to remember. So try and use that, and encourage your staff to update their passwords as well. And then what about the threat of ransomware? So, you know, the ransomware, as I said, it is a big thing at the moment. Cyber criminals are attacking larger businesses, smaller businesses. And as I say, it's about taking those steps to try and prevent. Really got to look at the prevention rather than waiting for it to happen. So taking those steps now could save you valuable time, money, and effort in the future. Because the last thing that we want is people coming to us saying, we've had an attack, Craig, can you help us? Because that's when it gets really costly. So it's really things that you have to be aware of. I've listed a few things here just so you're aware of the things that you could be doing to lower the risk. Backup. How many of you are doing backup? Do a daily backup of all your information. At least if there is an issue, you know you've got yesterday's system there, and we can then reuse that to reboot all your systems before the hack took place. So that's the most important thing, to make sure you're doing daily backups. Training, again, it's training staff around what to look for on email. So whether you click into that email, and it's all about that education piece. So many instances happen because somebody just clicked into an email or clicked into a link, and then that's infected your system. So it's about being aware of what emails and recognizing emails and looking out for the actual names and the email address. Does that match up to people that you've dealt with? Is it just a random email that's come in? So really that training piece is very important. And again, with email, we have a system called Spam Defender, BitTitan, basically. So it will try and log out any emails that it doesn't recognize. It will sift them away from the system. So it will alert us that it's come through, and we can then look at it and say, do we want to open that email? Do we want to open the email? No, we don't. No, we don't. And then we can delete them off of the system. Also, another one is ad blockers. So you could put an ad block onto your system. So when you are surfing the internet, you don't get any malware coming through from adverts. So that's another good tip to use. Download an unblocker system. There's several available online, and that will prevent those malwares coming in via advertising, which, you know, you just innocently click. And then patches, making sure you keep your systems up to date. So keep all your operating system, your software and apps up to date, and that will minimize the weak entry points within your system. So that's the first point of contact. I know Apple are very good. They're always sending me software updates. Microsoft are the same, but you might have to look a little bit further for the Microsoft ones. So just make sure you keep on top of your systems and keep them all updated. That's the first defense around cyber attacks, basically. And then the next step, obviously, we give Hounslow Chamber the offer. We offer a tech support, IT support for remote workers, initial IT health check. We can then give you fully managed antivirus as part of this package, which is a great start to your cybersecurity defenses. You then have access to our help desk and our IT tech engineers, and that's available for $2.99 plus VAT from Timeless IMS. So that's the plug. I'll leave that there. And then the last slide, as I've now hit 8 minutes, is just to say, you know, not only is Michael a massive NASA fan, born on the day of the lunar landing, so am I. I've been to Kennedy so many times. It's a fantastic day out, a fantastic educational day out. So if you get the chance, get yourself to Kennedy. And that's Craig Dade from Timeless IMS, and happy to answer some questions at the end of the session.
Okay, thank you very much indeed, Craig. In fact, we've got a specific question now, so do you want to just go for it quickly now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody's asked, can you describe, you know, what does a ransom attack look like?
What does it look like?
That's what the question is.
Yeah, it would normally, the ransom attack, you'll only find out you've had it when your screen gives you a big X or a big cross, or a skull and crossbones will come onto your screen telling you do not use your computer until you've paid this attack, and you won't be able to use your computer. So you won't be able to see it until that happens, unfortunately, which is why you need to take all the preemptive steps.
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. If you could stop screen sharing, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, I'll
Thank
do that
you.
now.
And yes, interesting. I didn't know that about Michael, so now I now know a new fact about Michael, which is great. Okay, next up is John Cauchi from Identity Destruction Ltd. John's company is based in Chichester, but they've just opened a new office in Feltham, which is great that you know, during these difficult times, you know, new businesses are opening. So John, over to you.
Thanks, Sally. Yes, I'm John. Actually, most people call me Johnny, so Johnny Cauchi. I'm the founder of Identity Destruction, and I'm generally really excited to be here because this is my first Zoom call, which is pretty cool. We're brand new members of the Hounslow Chamber, so thanks, Sally, for inviting us today. So, Identity Destruction, we are not just another normal shredding company. We are the home of the Shreddinators. We have these fantastic robotic characters. There are 3 names. We've got Shred Top, he's the green one, who does the paper shredding. We've got Data, who's the blue one, who does the hard drive shredding. And we've got Disco, and she's the pink one, and she does the discs, things like CDs, DVDs, floppy disks. So we're pretty cool. So yeah, as Sally said, we are based in Chichester, our head office. And on the 1st of March, we opened our brand new Shred as You Wait service branch in Feltham. So hence why we're really excited to be part of the chamber in Hounslow. So over the next 5 minutes, I've got 3 points to share with you guys today. Point number 1 is, why do we have to shred? Why shred? So I checked out this morning on Experian that fraud costs the UK economy a whopping £193 billion a year, which equates to around about £6,000 a second. So to put that into context, guys, over the hour that we are spending together this morning, that equates to over £21 million. Can you believe that? Mind-blowing, eh? So the answer to why we should trade is pretty obvious, really, as destroying physical data written on paperwork and digital data stored on old hard drives is the first line of defense to stopping physical data breaches in the workplace for your business. All right. So moving on to point number 2 is what to shred. So when it comes to confidential paperwork, most people in a work environment will automatically think about your accounts data. So your accounts department, all your financials, really, really important to ensure that your accounting details are destroyed with a cross-shredding. But guys, it's not only accounts information, it's actually every scrap of waste paper that you and your staff are generating. So anything with regard to a person's name, a person's mobile number, a person's email, a person's business address, a person's home address. These are all the areas where identity thieves are looking to rob and destroy, you see. So you have a legal responsibility under GDPR to ensure there are no data breaches, to protect, number 1, your customers, guys, number 2, to protect your staff's information, and number 3, to protect your suppliers' information. So really, really important. Okay. With regard to moving on to hard drive now, with regards to our digital data, the data held on our old hard drives holds maybe 1,000 times more data than what we actually print out on paperwork. And often hard drives are actually forgotten about, not really deemed as important. The issue is though, is that what's held on old hard drives is all the quotes to your clients, all your HR data, your clients' personal addresses, staffing information, all your accounts figures, all your business emails, and we all have bazillions of those every day, don't we? A whole myriad of digital data, which you cannot afford to fall into the wrong hands. What we normally do, guys, as well, in the environment of our work, we tend to use local IT support companies. IT support companies are really fantastic at maintaining continuity of our business systems to make sure we can come into work, we can use our email, use the internet, etc. But they are not experts at data destruction. And what most local IT companies do is will take away your old PCs and laptops when they become redundant, and the hard drives will be wiped or reformatted. The scary fact though, guys, is that about 90% of the information is retrievable literally in minutes from a hard drive that has been reformatted, and it's not going to be GDPR compliant. Good news is we shred hard drives and eradicate your data to 100% guarantee that your data is destroyed, which is good news. So we have as I say, our shreddinator called Data. He shreds your hard drives into tiny shards of metal in literally seconds. He does about 200 hard drives an hour, and that guarantees that the information held is utterly annihilated. So good news for data security. Move on to the last point now is how can identity destruction help? So here at ID, we provide two services. We provide a collection service for your home or for your office. As you can see behind me, this is one of our confidential waste sacks. So we post these out to your home or your office. There's no time scale. You can fill them at your leisure. You can take a week, you can take a year, it doesn't matter. They come, you can order them from the website in a pack of 2, 5, 10 and 15. As soon as you're ready, give us a ring your area regularly. We come and collect from your home or office, bring the sacks back to our CCTV managed shredding facility. Paperwork's all cross-shredded in seconds, then sent off to be recycled, which is nice and green. Then we provide you a certificate of destruction for your GDPR records. Also, likewise, as you can see behind me, there's an old PC and an old laptop, 3.5 inch, 2.5 inch. These are the hard drives that contain all your data for your business that you must keep safe. These can't be destroyed by just whacking them. You need to shred them, and we literally shred them into tiny shards of metal in seconds. It's the only way. Mechanical destruction is the only way. So we can collect from your home or office. As I said at the beginning of this presentation, we've got a new Shred As You Wait branch, or Shreddinate As You Wait. Over in Feltham, you can pop down between Monday to Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You bring your paperwork in to us, we weigh it for you, and we cross-shred it literally right in front of your eyes. We've even got like a little IP camera in the shredding machine, and you watch the paperwork going through the blades. And also, same as hard drives, bring your PCs and laptops down. Our trained staff remove the internal hard drives and shred them. And again, you can watch it's going to be a really quick question. What happens to the shredded hard drive pieces? They must be hard to recycle. Good question. Thanks, Alex. Good news is, guys, is that what we do, we first of all 100% recycle the shredded paper. The hard drives, the shredded shards of hard drive, go off to be recycled too. Hard drives contain a lot of gold, can you believe? And there's a value to that. So they actually extract the gold from the hard drives. Most of it's aluminium, a bit of palladium, a teeny bit of gold on the gold connectors. That's what they extract to recycle. So 100% recycled. The old computer, PC towers and laptop carcasses, we 100% recycle as well. They go over to Wales, it stays in the UK. We don't send out to China or to India or Africa. We're very pro maintaining the carbon footprint as small as possible, which is really good. And last but not least, this is our console. So this is, you've got an office-based environment. These come in a choice of 3 colours, either beige, white or grey, to aesthetically blend in with your existing office furniture. They are locked, and this is an email from Sally. Thanks, Sally. It says, welcome, please find your official letter attached. This is the welcome email. We don't normally print off emails. It's actually really bad for the environment, but most people do, which is a bit of a shame. Keeps us in business, I guess. So what we do here, guys, this here has a tamper-proof little slot at the top. Put the paperwork in, and what we do for £20 a month, guys, we come with a key, unlock the door, inside is a bag, holding all the paperwork. We replenish the bag with an empty bag, and we take it back to one of our secure facilities in Chichester or Carlton. We cross-show the paperwork, get a certificate. So for £20 a month as a budget, it's very low cost. In our experience, most of our clients spend about 1 hour a week shredding in the office. And if you're going to pay your office junior, say £10 an hour, that's £500 a year. This costs £260. So it's actually better, more cost effective for your staff. You're able to recycle the shredded paper, which is fantastic. And it means that every scrap of paper as a code of good practice for your business, you can put straight into the console, and it's locked, no one can get into it, and you're going to be completely GDPR compliant. So guys, that's a quick whistle-stop tour even, of why we shred and what to shred and how we can help you. So I hope that's been helpful for you this morning.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Gosh, these webinars, I learned such a lot. I hadn't really thought about that at all. So no, excellent, thank you. Right, and now over to Alan, who is going to talk about our project Safer Business Hounslow, and then we're going to come on to sort of physical security. Oh, right, there you go.
What do I do with this then?
Didn't you talk about a hard drive? You jumped on it in the garden and hit it with a mallet and a brick and all sorts of things.
A nail. The word was a nail. Let's not over-egg this. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, John, thank you very much for that presentation. Superb. I can't believe you've steered away from Zoom for the last 12 months. That was very impressive and very detailed and very luring for lots of people. And I love your valued argument of £20 for 21 million or billion, was it, per hour?
Oh, within this 1 hour here, you're over £21 million, yeah.
Save £21 million for £20 a month.
Exactly.
Not too many numbers to remember.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to share screen if I can. And here we go. Okay. So this is a presentation about a product that we offer across Hounslow and Feltham, and coming soon to Chiswick. The product is Safer Business Hounslow. It's originally a product to help companies feel more secure, more safe in today's shopping world by offering them a service of marshals. We have 4 marshals across the borough. They offer an award-winning service originally to help shops get through their shopping cycle of shop theft. But we've now moved it on to be more COVID-19 confident and offer shops a way of being more COVID-19 secure. We have a dedicated coordinator, and we have an exclusion notice scheme for different areas in the shops. We have incident reporting via a mobile app on disk, and we share information critically from shop to shop via a radio scheme, where all of the shops that sign in and join up with us are given a walkie-talkie radio that operates within Feltham and within Hounslow, so that if you have a shoplifter going from one shop, all of the other shops can be very quickly alerted to what's going on. And often shoplifters don't operate just on their own. They normally go on a spree, starting at one end of town and working their way through to the other. So if all the shops can be alerted to what's going on, it works really well. Everybody gets a heads up for what's going on. They are also linked in with the CCTV centre for each shopping centre, so that one shop gets a shopping thief going in there for a bit of shoplifting. He can then be described what's gone on. The CCTV centre can then track him where he's going or she's going, or should that be gender neutral, where they are going, and they can then alert the next shops down the row as to what's coming in their direction. It's a very effective solution. We've been running it for quite a few years, and it's being rolled out as part of a programme across the whole of the UK for key shopping areas. At the end of the day, sharing information is key to the success of crime reduction partnerships. And that's a lovely phrase that Janet Leatherland, our Treaty Centre Manager and Chair of Safer Business Hounslow, has used, that we've got on here.
Yeah, sure. So 20 seconds, isn't it?
That then rolled into what do we do in today's world of COVID-19? And we've had all of our marshals now trained by our health and safety director from our chamber. They are able then to go out and tell shops, with the help of a council toolkit, for how to reopen their business in a safe and secure, COVID secure way, in accordance with the government sector guidance, which we have as a link on our website. And it helps people in business who are in retail business. It helps them understand how they can help their customers coming into the shop, being sort of correctly dressed with a mask, with being socially distanced. It helps them help their staff who work in the shops, who perhaps get fed up with constantly putting on hand sanitizer, to have a wash area where they can wash it off with a bit of soap and water. And it helps them with getting deliveries that come into the shop, having those deliveries properly disinfected, so that when you have your product on display being sold in the shop, it's in a safe, controlled way. And by connecting best practice across all of the different people in the industry, from retail to food and beverage to pubs, eventually when they reopen, will be a fantastic way. We've also got some pictures of our marshals all displayed on our website, so that people can feel confident that when they have a visit, they have somebody that they can look up and check and make sure that they really do work for us. I got all of these guys to smile in these pictures, because what we want to do is, these guys are security guards, but I want them to go round, and we've got them to deliver a happy, upbeat, positive note on how to help your business be more COVID secure and more crime safe. And these guys are out there to help you. And the chap at the end, Denim, managed to stop a thief in Boots in Chiswick yesterday. So he's not just there giving advice on what to do, he actually caught somebody shoplifting as well. Well done, Denim. How much does all of this cost, I hear you ask? Goodness gracious me. So you can become a member on here. You get free use once you're a member of the radio scheme. You get close partnership working with the police, who also have a radio, so that the police can hear what's going on in the local shops. You don't have to dial 999 and report and ask for police, ambulance or fire brigade and then wait. This connects you directly to a bobby on the beat, and the local CCTV centre. We get you access to a scheme that bans persistent offenders in the area. They are all shown on a disk database where we record and monitor crime and the premises. And we have regular meetings and training and webinars like this one, and we send out regular newsletters. The cost, not £20 a month, but just under £1 a day, £360 a year. And the value that you would save in theft walking out of your shop every day is demonstrable by comparison to that. So who do we work with? We work with all of the major retailers and private retailers down our high street and shopping centre managers for the High Street in Feltham, in McDonald's, for the Blenheim Centre. Here's a picture of Jess, for the centre in Feltham, and with Janet in the Treaty Centre. And we have sponsorship from a few key companies as well, including some of the bigger companies in our area like Russell Finex, Sky and Heathrow Airport. And we work closely, regularly with the local police and especially the council via their CCTVs centres that operate across the entire borough. If you'd like more information or you'd like to join, please get in touch with Sally or myself. Sally will be very happy to take your money. Over to you, Sally. You can unmute yourself
yes,
now.
No, mouse was playing up.
Feed him some cheese.
Oh yes. No, thank you for that. Yes, it's. I think also the radio scheme is a very good tool for lone workers. Often, in especially the sort of the fashion stores when they do reopen, you often get you know, and it's younger people as well, so they feel quite vulnerable. So the radio scheme, you know, is a great help there. And then this brings me on to sort of physical security. And we can't not go on with this webinar without mentioning the very sad case of Sarah Everard. What I do want to say is that her kidnap and murder, this really is, it's incredibly rare. Male on male violence is much more common. And I worry far more about my son being out late at night rather than my daughters. I feel strongly that we must not allow fear to stop us from reclaiming our streets. Otherwise, they've won. We just need to be sensible. Use well-lit streets, have your house keys ready in your pocket. And also remember, as Alan mentioned, our borough has brilliant new CCTV cameras being installed with high-definition images. I think at the moment they've gone into Feltham, and I think they're going in across Brentford as well, sort of in the very immediate future. So that brings us on to Bernice Keshet from Victim Support. I was a victim of a scam at the car park behind M&S back in July, and I think the picture of me was the day when we were doing the training of the marshals. I had just been scammed, and you feel intimidated, you feel incredibly stupid because you know it's happening, but you're in the thick of it and you can't get yourself out of it. But when you look back with hindsight, you realize that was so obvious what the man was doing, but you're in it and you just, you know, he's very good at his job. You know, he's a scammer. That's what he does. And he totally scammed me. I got the money back, but yes, I'm one of your, was it 20 million, Johnny? That's my money. Anyway, Bernice, over to you.
Thank you, Sally, and thanks for sharing. I think that's a very common feeling that people have after they've been a victim of crime, and especially after they've been a victim of fraud. We see that a lot. Today, let me just share my screen. Nope. All right, can everyone see? Great. Yeah, so like Sally said, my name is Bernice Keshet. I'm the Community Engagement Manager with Victim Support's Children and Young People Service. I'll tell you just a little bit about our service and how it might connect with this bigger conversation of safety in the community setting, and especially when it comes to business partners. So Victim Support, you might know, is a national charity. We're an independent charity. We're not connected with the police, but we support anyone who's been affected by crime. So that could be a direct victim, or it could be a witness, or just someone in the person's circle who feels affected by what happened. With young people, we work across all London boroughs. We have a team of caseworkers who work on core crimes. So that might be things like theft, robbery, things like that. And then we have also a specialized service that works around youth violence, which is what I'll touch on a bit more today. An important thing to mention is that people who get support from Victim Support, whether they're an adult or a young person, don't have to have reported the crime to the police, and we never pressure anyone to do so. So that might be something that sometimes is a barrier for people to step forward and ask for support. So that shouldn't be something that deters anyone from asking for help. So what is serious youth violence? Interestingly enough, there isn't actually a set definition. A lot of boroughs or local authorities set on any offense of most serious violence or weapon-enabled crime where the victim is 1 to 19 years old. So obviously it's very general, and into that we see falling child criminal exploitation and child sexual exploitation as well. So it's important to remember with serious youth violence that a young person can be both a perpetrator and a victim, and we would work with both in that instance. Some young people might be groomed or coerced into gangs, and then they might be violent towards other people. So unlike with adults, that line can be a lot more unclear when it comes to young people. We know that we've been seeing an increase over the past few years in this kind of crime. It's not always a direct line, it kind of goes up and down. We know that there's been a little bit of a dip in the maybe year and a half. It might be related to COVID. That data will come out probably in the next few months and we'll have a clearer picture. Children and young people are most likely to experience crime by their peers, family, or people they know. And looking at Hounslow, we can see that specifically it follows the trend that we see all across London as well. We see a very kind of slow but steady rise in knife-enabled crime. So where it connects with the community and with businesses, I think is around contextual safeguarding. And I'll just explain this idea to everyone for a minute. So I think we all know traditional safeguarding, which is basically when social services or authorities get involved and offer interventions to young people who are at risk. You can see here in the diagram on the left that usually we would be looking at maybe a social worker or a teacher, whoever that is, who's trying to intervene with the young person and try to keep them safe. So the young person has all these circles of belonging. They have their family, their peer group, their school, their neighborhood. And when we try to intervene with that young person, sometimes we might be missing on the bigger context of their life. Also, maybe that intervention might not work very well because there might be issues of trust. Maybe the young person doesn't want to work with the social worker, whatever the reason is, that can be very difficult. With contextual safeguarding, it's basically what it sounds like. It's looking at the context of the young person's life. So whereas maybe you don't want to intervene directly with the young person or you're not able to for any reason, you might want to look at their—
Sorry to interrupt, Bernice. The picture we're seeing at the moment is of a lady in a flower shop with safe
Oh.
Jimmy. Are you able to move us on? I think we're looking at the wrong image.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No worries.
What can you see now?
Still, I can see the lady in the flower shop, safe haven for Jimmy.
Oh.
We can see that it looks like you're trying to click on register, but it's not moving forward.
Okay, yeah. Let me stop sharing and start again.
Stop sharing, Bernice, and then.
Yeah. What can you see?
Yes, this is looking better.
Okay, great. Thank you for letting me. Okay. Can you see this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, sorry, that probably didn't make a lot of sense without looking at the. Okay, I'll just review this real quick. So this will probably make more sense to you now. Basically, we have a young person and all these circles of what they belong to in their life. When we try to intervene with them directly, we might be missing on all these other opportunities to bring change and increase their safety. Yeah, does this kind of make sense to everyone that now that you can see this? With contextual safeguarding, we might want to intervene with their peer group or with their school or with their neighborhood, where maybe the risk lies, rather than only directly with the young person or their family. Which I think brings us to where businesses and the wider community come into play. So we know that during adolescence, young people spend less time at home and more time with their peers, socializing in neighborhood spaces like parks and businesses. And actually, I'd be curious if anyone has an idea of when we see the peak of serious youth violence incidents during the day. Does anyone have a guess? So I think most people think of it as maybe a nighttime economy, thing later at night, but actually most incidents are between 3 and 7 p.m., which makes sense if you think about it because it's after school, right? So it's definitely the time where young people are out, they're in the community, they're out and about, and they're engaging with local businesses. So contextual safeguarding is really about identifying, assessing, and intervening in the social conditions of abuse. And I'll give you as an example, a case study in Lewisham. So this lady that you've been staring at this whole time, the Safe Haven for Jimmy scheme is basically where businesses came together to create safe havens all around Lewisham, which means that if a young person comes to this business, the shopkeeper is trained to speak to them, to lock the store, and call a parent, guardian, or the police if they're feeling unsafe when they're out and about. And obviously it takes a lot of coordination. They have a network of, I believe, 18 safe havens all around the neighborhood. And they've been working with schools to get the young people to approach the businesses and ask them to be part of this and spread the information about it so that young people walking in the street know where they can go to get help. And then lastly, the one other thing I wanted to leave you with is just how to get in touch with us. And I think one of the reasons this is important is because not only can it happen to anyone to be a victim of crime, like Sally shared, but that especially if someone is in their workplace and they witness a crime or they're in any way, they're trying to intervene or whatever it is, we sometimes don't think that they might be affected, but they are. And it's important to have an environment in the workplace that's conducive to that person asking for support. So this might be something that as a manager, you want to make your employees aware of, that this is a free service that they can access, and that it makes sense that they would be affected, even if they've just witnessed something, not been a victim themselves. That's it for me. Thank you. Sally, I think you're muted.
Mouse problems again. It does need
Right.
keys, doesn't it? Thank you very much for that. Thank you. To go back to my incident, I couldn't believe it. The person who scammed me, there was no camera images of him, but there was a camera image of my car going into the car park, and obviously I was being scammed, so I didn't put a ticket on the car because that's where the scam was happening, and then I got done for a parking ticket. So it was, it just went from sublime to ridiculous, really. But hey, but thank you so much, everyone, for today. We've got a few questions, and I think the first one is possibly for Johnny. Somebody's asked, how do you destroy data on SSDs or USB devices?
Yeah, great question. I mean, we don't have a lot of SSDs because they're relatively new in our PCs and laptops. But the same difference, we actually cross-shred them. Excuse me. With regards to USB sticks, they're really little. So we have a smaller shredding machine that shreds down really tiny blades. So USB sticks can be destroyed. So mechanical cross-shredding is the key, and that's what we do for both SSDs and USB sticks. Yeah.
Thank you. And one for you, Craig. Are there any good, really free antivirus packages?
Free, yeah, you can. WatchGuard, you can get free versions of a lot of the anti-malware packages. They obviously don't give you quite enough security or quite if you start paying for it, but you can get some packages out there. So WatchGuard is one to look for.
Okay. And here's one for you,
I was
Alan.
just going to share my screen again because of the question earlier. So it was just to see, I think somebody asked about what would a ransomware look like.
Yes.
So if I share that, hopefully you'll be able to see it.
So that's what it looks like. Yeah. Gosh. Oh, scary. Thank you very much, Craig. Thank you.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So, and another top tip that I forgot
Sorry, you're freezing a bit. Another top tip and it's frozen.
Look at that.
It's a
Look
ransomware.
at that. The connection's unstable. That's no good, is it?
Not very good.
When you're on a Zoom call, when you're on a Zoom call and you're sharing your screen, all I've got open is the Zoom call and my PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
Everything is closed off, not minimized, closed off.
Okay.
So that's another good security tip. So just make sure you do that when you're sharing your screen.
Okay. Thank you for that. Right, Alan, here's one for you. Well, it's a generalised one. This is from Mr. Patel from Val Radio. Someone has tried to hack my business account and nearly tried to rob, him of the entire amount. Is there any credit insurance available? Do you know anything about this?
Well, I knew you were going to pick on me sooner or later, Sally, with the
Yep.
question. You like to put me on the spot.
Absolutely.
Hello, Mr. Patel. How are you? We've known each other at Val Radio for a long, long time. And finally, Sally managed to get him to pay his membership. Well done. I hope you've been making good use of your membership of the Chamber.
Yes,
I don't know if there is anything on insurance-wise. I don't know if Craig has heard anything about anything like this. It is a type of viral attack on people, and it's a way of getting insurance back from it rather than making a payout against a claim.
Well, obviously we offer cyber insurance. So whether there's something that would tag onto that as well, I would definitely recommend asking the question of an insurance advisor. Obviously, cyber insurance goes on top of our stack of cyber security. It's the last piece in the defence, as it were. So that would then pay out.
Okay.
I suppose at the end of the day, in today's world, if you had a break into your office and somebody stole things from your office, by far the most, by far and a long way, the most valuable things that they could steal is the data out of your office and the information that you've got on your hard drive. You know, have my desk, have my PC, sorry, not my PC, have my desk, have my chair,
Yes.
have the light fittings, but don't take the data on my PC. I can get a new laptop from somewhere, but it's the data that's on there that's the critical thing. And if you, that's the thing that I wonder, when you've got contents insurance for your office, whether that contents insurance covers the most valuable bit of your contents. Your data that's largely, if you're not careful, stored on your own laptop rather than stored behind a firewall on a cloud somewhere using a secure service like Timeless.
This is true. This is true. And we have systems to at least disable the laptop. So if somebody does have it stolen, we can disable it, but obviously the data is still there. But
Okay. Right. Somebody's asked a question: to accept cookies or not to accept cookies?
oh, there's the question. I love cookies myself, but
Normally have them with tea.
Yeah. So, I mean, I must admit, if you want, I always accept them because you want to get onto the site.
Absolutely, and that's the thing that has now happened, isn't it? It's they drive you down the road of consent for all the cookies. You don't have to, but then you click the I don't want them, and then you find you can't get on the site anyway. So they're kind of forcing you to do it. So unfortunately, you either say, well, okay, I won't go onto the site, forget it, or you accept them, unfortunately, and that's the way they've gone, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you for that.
So I've got a little question for
Craig.
Go
for it, please.
And as we're sort of got a bit of time, so BA had a huge data breach recently on not just one but both of their data centers at Heathrow Airport. And if you were a member of the BA Executive Club, like an awful lot of people are,
I am,
and you are, I am, and a lot of people were lured into this quite accurately and well when you flew with BA. A lot of that information has disappeared. It's gone into the ether, and the people who have got that now, presumably, are the people who are sending out spam emails to you advertising one thing or another. Is that where it goes, or is it somewhere a bit more sinister than that?
Oh, well, all the data the data will be on the dark web,
Yeah.
and the data will be being sold on the dark web between
To people that would send you spam
yeah,
emails advertising things.
absolutely, absolutely. And then they'll put it together with phishing scams where they'll put something, they might have your details, they'll then put something on Facebook to try and get you to relieve more details and stuff like that. And then they'll just build a bigger profile of that particular person. So,
And would those people be able to...
Every member then had to reset all their credentials and all their details, but the details were still out there, weren't they? And they're still on the dark web somewhere.
So were those people able to get access to your BA password, for example?
I would imagine so, because they instantly told everybody to reset their passwords.
Yes. And a lot of people have one password for an awful lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm ringing some bells here with Sally.
I've got quite a few now these days.
So if you started off with one password, you've got an awful lot of multiple devices all over the place.
Yeah.
If you find out that one place has got has had a data breach, you need to change all of your passwords everywhere, presumably.
Yeah. Well, recently Apple did an update to their password repository. Now I'm pretty good. I like to think I'm pretty good, and I try and change my passwords and do various things. But out of the, say, 60 apps that I'd been into and registered passwords, 90% had been compromised. So it's absolutely frightening. So
I saw something as well once that was an advert on the dark web for a lot of data that had been mined from somewhere.
Yeah.
And it included passwords. And a lot of the passwords were, let's say, 6 digits, but 3 of the digits were blanked out, and that was the way of selling you the information.
Okay.
But if you were somebody who uses a name and you've got 3 of the digits on there and you know you've got another 3 digits that are blanked out, it doesn't take that much to work out that there are only a certain amount of words that can end up with that name that fits on there.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful if you're picking out a name.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, that's, go for 3 random words, use some numbers in there, capitals, your stars, your asterisks.
Or make a spelling mistake deliberately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, lordy. Right, to go back to the cookie question, what I think it is, but as I say, I'm not very techie minded. So I'm just going to read what somebody's put into the chat box under the cookie question. Use Brave browser and VPN together. Well, sorry, Craig. What does that mean? Does that mean anything?
So I guess they're saying that they are using the Brave browser and they've got a VPN. So VPN is good because it's obviously a very private network. So that keeps the connection really strong at home. And I guess, you can use Brave browser. I tend to use, the normal ones that are there, the Chrome and stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely, use Brave browser with the VPN together, and it makes it more secure.
Okay, I'll speak to Lisa about that then. She'll tell me what to do. Right, we're almost we've got a few more minutes left. I'm just going last bit of advice for everyone. From all of you, what's the best piece of advice for a small business to protect themselves either online or physically? Johnny, do you want to?
Yeah, best bit of advice for protection is to just look at your business practices and work out, maybe just write a new document about the best practice for where you store your physical data. Like what Alan was saying, when people will come into your office and steal your information, which is on paperwork and on hard drives, on your old hard drives and your old confidential paper where you're just no longer needing it, make sure it's secure, it's stored somewhere. Make sure you are regularly shredding, not strip shredding, cross shredding, that's the important bit. And just make sure that whoever you're using if you're going to be shredding in your home or office shredder, which is really boring, if you're going to be using a company, make sure they are certified like we are. We got the correct security accreditation. And make sure that with regards to hard drives, if you are going to be using an IT technician to to help you monitor your business and maintain your systems. Make sure if they are going to be taken away, ask them what they do. If they can't give you any information of what they do with your old hard drives, because what happens is most of them will refurbish the old PC and laptops, because it might be 5 years old to you guys, it's old and slow, but there's a massive market, and most old PCs and laptops, hard drives inside get reformatted, which doesn't destroy the data, and then they get sold on this platform called eBay. I don't know if you've heard of it, but every minute of every day on eBay, there probably are literally dozens, if not hundreds, of PCs and laptops that belong to me, you, from home and from our businesses, that are just getting sold anywhere in England or abroad, and we've got there's no accountability. So that's a really massive potential security breach for your business and your data. Is make sure that the hard drive, get it destroyed properly, use identity destruction, and we'll shredinate it for you, and then we'll recycle it as well. Just means that your data is not going to be going to a third party for potential identity crime. It's really important. So.
Okay, thank you. Craig, a top tip from you again.
Yeah, I think it's education, isn't it? If you've got staff, making sure they are educated about the things that I've said, about the passwords, being wary of emails and looking at emails before you open them, and just checking, we have them come through, the email address doesn't match, or the email address isn't on the footer of the email, so be wary of that. So yeah, just be really careful around that piece. It's that educating your staff is key.
Okay, thank you. Bernice.
Yeah, I think apart from things like alarms and things like that, which we all know about, I think it's also about utilizing the resources that your local authority offers. Speak to your community safety team, find out what teams are available, what you can take advantage of. And then again, education, and if it's with your team, make sure that everyone is aware of where to go for help, and that you foster an environment where asking for support after something happens, or even if just people are worried about something happening, that's acceptable and normalized.
Thank you. Alan, final word.
Final word. I'm going to hark back to Sally's comments about the sad tragedy of what happened on Clapham Common. And I'm going to say something that on most people's phones, they've got track their mobile, and you can see where people are. And a lot of younger people especially don't want their parents or somebody trusted to know where they are, so they don't share that information. If the worst thing happens, you really want somebody to know where you are. So try and have some trust with at least somebody in your household or a friend, so that they can know where you are at some point in time. And that would help an awful lot with everything that goes on in the world that's sinister.
It's so interesting. I do, when my daughters were growing up, yes, I mean, she's now in her 30s, but when they were growing up, a group of them would go shopping in Kingston, and some of the girls' parents didn't want them to go to Kingston, so they'd say they were going to Ealing. So I always said to my lovely daughter, please, I don't really mind where you go, just I want to know if you don't come home, where I've got to start looking. So I think as you say, it's trust. It's and again, my sister gave me some advice years ago. I never set limits when my girls should come home, because I didn't want them coming home alone. I wanted them to be with the gang. So yes, they had more fun on the night buses. The party would continue on the night bus, but at least they were in a gang coming home together, rather than one girl coming home at midnight. And also, there you are at home at midnight in your pajamas. What are you going to do? I mean, you just, apart from just spiral out of control. So that was a piece of advice my lovely sister gave me many years ago, which I stuck to. But yes, I think we've hit the top of the hour. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time this morning. An interesting discussion, as always, with Hounslow Chamber Events. Our next one is on the 31st of March. Alan is leading international trade event with UAE.
We get a bit of sunshine. Look at what happens in the United Arab Emirates. Are you fed up with all of this gloom and doom here? Have a bit of sunshine on us.
It sounds good. Okie dokie. Thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. And yeah, I really appreciate it.
And thank you very much to our host, Sally. Well done again.
Thanks, Sally.
Thank you all for being here. Thanks a lot. Go carefully.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.